concern is people who come in and out of lives, right? I think that does just as much damage as if you were just, if another man comes into your life and he wants to take care of the kid as his, that's more healthy than a person who comes in and out, empty promises. You know, that's the reason why I had it's nothing like a person who's showing you they don't want to be involved with you. Like, imagine that being on a kid. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the reason why I said it. Because most men who want to be involved with their kid, you say that, they're going to be involved with their kid. They're like, you know what? No, I want my kid. But it's some people who show that they don't want their kid. And to me, just let them go. And then they come like, oh, no, I'll do it. And they'll be it for a weekend and then be missing for 3 more months. Like, that's not okay.
I agree with that, but to me that doesn't release that doesn't release him from his financial obligation. So I agree with you, but he still has to support in some way the growth of that child. Now, if a man comes in and says, "Hey," tells his woman, "I want to adopt a kid," and she propositions the baby dad, like, "Yo, I got somebody that's real. With I want you to sign over rights." I think that he should, but she must also understand he's no longer held to any financial obligation once he does that.
And you know what? The thing about it too is, never mind. I just never mind. I don't even want to get into the nutshell. Just what I found is when I looked at a census report, when we talk about child support, the men who are getting the hardest are the ones who are involved, right? Usually the divorce proceedings, it was a part of the agreement when you got a divorce. Those are the men who are really paying the most in child support. And then they have the like on the weekend or every other weekend or whatever it is, right? And then you have the guy who is involved, who may not have been married, but he's still involved. Those are people who are getting hit the hardest. The men who are getting away with murder are the deadbeats. So the ones that pop up every now and then, they ain't paying child support. It seems like 44% of people are really paying the full child support. And so at that point, it's just like, what are we doing here? And that's the reason why I had my view on being able to just say, he ain't here. He's been absent for 2 months. He don't mean as well. Let him go.
Can somebody put up that last comment by what's his name? By Truth and Reality, where he says if a woman can delete. Look, this is what I'm talking about. Once you put your seed there, what she does with your seed once it's there is up to her. Regardless of what you want, you have officially put your property on her property line, which means she can do whatever she wants to do with it. And you understand this going in, and unfortunately for the people who want their tree to blossom, you put it in the wrong soil. You picked wrong. You put it in a woman that didn't want anything to grow in that garden. You did that as a man. Your choice, your call, your decision. If it wasn't your decision, then you have to explain that one out to me. Maybe you should put hot sauce in the condom. That's all I can think of. Like, you have to understand that there are consequences to every single action. I get the argument. She can let it. She can even give it up for adoption. Not if you're not in jail.
Well, AP,
like I understand the argument.
For me.
Not me. You live 8 hours away. Absolutely not.
You'll still be here 8 hours. Gonna roll. Come on, HD. Come on.
Hell no. But AP, I think it's a little unfair because let's think about it like this. You know, the child is the biological. You could say like the child comes from the father, right? And I agree with you. Legally, once that seed goes into that woman, into that vessel, right? She has became essentially a vending machine. That you put the money in there and you're waiting for that money and the item that's in that vending machine to pop out, right? But the thing is like, yo, like I don't think it's a full fair conversation to be like, well, she gets to choose whenever the second that you put it in there. I don't think that's fair because of the fact of the matter is that listen, like if he wants to have that kid, right? And she doesn't, she can get rid of that kid as second as she wants to. Now, I understand what you're saying as far as the responsibility portion, and that if you want the best outcome, you want to put the seed in something that's actually going to hopefully give you a return, right? Obviously, you put your seed in some place that isn't going to get you a good return because she don't want to have that baby, and she either going to keep it for herself or she going to get rid of it before it actually becomes a full child, right? But I just think that if you want men to have the majority of the responsibility of said child, then no matter what point that child is in the birthing process, he should have a say in what that child should be. If he doesn't want that child to be a thing, right? And it's in the infant stages, if there's a legal way, because I'm just going to be on record, I don't agree abortion should really ever be an option unless somebody's life is on the line. If the mother's life ain't on the line, I don't agree with abortion. If you decided that you wanted to have sex with a man and you don't want to have that kid, you shouldn't have sex with him. I don't think that it's fair to be like, this person can't exist because that's what people were trying to say. Well, it's not a person yet. Well, if you let it finish baking, it'll be a person. But the reality is people be like, well, adoption agencies is overrun and they get listen, that don't mean a person don't get a chance to live just because you made a stupid decision. Like, bro, and it's funny, people be fighting for abortions when all of y'all got a chance to live. Like, there's not a person that's fighting for an abortion that didn't get a chance to live. Like, the reality is that. So it's just like, to me, it's just a stupid conversation. Like, yo, I think men should be responsible if they decide that they're gonna put a child in. And I agree with Shan. If you got enough balls to put a nut in a woman and it produces a child, you should have enough balls to marry her. It don't matter if you like her or anything like that. You should want to take more of the responsibility of the child that you chose. However,
Well, according to Miss Aiken, sometimes nuts go where you didn't want them to be at.
well, every nut that came towards her, she put it there. So, it just, and most women, every nut that comes to every woman, whether it's peanuts, it's walnuts, they choose the nuts that come in their vicinity. Listen, and most people do that. Most people, they choose the people that they want to have sex with. It is, it's not a super, it's not over 30% of quote unquote non-consensual sex happening. Okay. It's much smaller than that.
Why are men so against vasectomies?
Well, it's because we got the option. And plus, most men don't like surgery anyway.
So,
Like, why
but
do we want to
abortion,
go on
but
surgery?
but the thing about it is, they want her to have abortion is surgery.
I mean, it's taking a child out of the canal. I mean,
It's
it's
surgery.
not usually surgery requires you to cut. They just going in and taking. They're not cutting. They
Um,
take the little forceps and they
So
go into the canal and they
just
grab the live person and then they pull it out.
even with that, there's the baby's not just floating in thin air. Like it is actually attached to them. There's a cut that happens.
Yeah,
Like the
you pull
umbilical
them out
cord
and
is.
snip.
So, but that's still under your like what you're saying. You need to cut for it to be qualified as surgery. There's also anesthesia that's involved. Like it's surgery.
It's surgery, bro.
it's surgery.
It's surgery.
And it's not
Most
just
cases it's just
usually
a
spoke
pill,
against
but
abortion, but we're talking about men who think that that's a cool form of birth control. But yet you have a form of birth control which also involves surgery, but you won't do that for yourself. And it only takes one time, right? So if you are so concerned with, getting a woman pregnant, just go get a vasectomy. It's reversible. The rate is high, like it's a high success rate. It's probably the same amount as her being able to have another kid after she has an abortion. Because some people do lose, their ability to have kids after an abortion, but it's probably around the same risk as she's taking. It's not the same.